Hello, my fourth grade friends. This is Miss Mowers here. Today we are going to be reviewing the different types of triangles and how we name them. So I'm calling this lesson Classifying Triangles. The word classifying is just a fancy word for naming. So how do we name these triangles? Well, there are two special ways that we can use to name triangles. One is to name them according to their side lengths. So what are the lengths of each side if we were to take a ruler and measure them? The other is to look at their angles, look at all three angles and decide the type of angles that they have, and that determines a name of the triangle too. So when we talk about naming triangles, we can name them, they can have three different names. They can have a side length name, they can have an angle name, or they can have a name that includes both side lengths and angles. Today we're going to be focusing on mainly naming them by their side lengths. I'll review angles really quick just to get us started, and then we'll talk about side lengths. So when we name triangles by their angles, we know there are three different types of angles. So we can name a triangle and have it be a right triangle. I'm just gonna write these down here. We can have it be a right a right triangle. It can also be an obtuse triangle. And it can also be a acute triangle. Now, when you have a right triangle, it has one angle that is a perfect right corner. So you only need one in this case, one right angle. The moment you see that you have a right angle, you know that it is 100% a right triangle. That's all you need to look for. Doesn't matter what the other angles are, as long as you have that one right angle. When you have an obtuse triangle, it's very much the same. The moment you see that you have an obtuse angle, oh, that was terrible. Sorry, friends, I'm going to retry that. Sorry, my drawings are not perfect. The moment that you see you have a right or an obtuse angle, you know 100% it is an obtuse triangle. It only takes one obtuse angle to make an obtuse triangle. Acute triangles are a little bit different. All three angles have to be acute. All three of them. You can't just have two. You can't have one. All three need to be acute. If all three are acute, then and only then can you call it an acute triangle. So, for example, if we look at the right angle or the right triangle, acute angle, so it'd be like 1, 2. Ooh, it fails the test because it has a right angle, so that means it's automatically a right triangle. If we look at our obtuse triangle, one acute angle, but it fails the test because we have an obtuse angle, so it automatically becomes an obtuse triangle. The only way we can call it an acute triangle is if it has three acute angles. Okay, so that's a quick review of angles there. Those are usually easy for my fourth grade friends to identify because they look for one of these. If they're not there, then boom, it's automatically an acute triangle. Right, the trickier one is the ones that deal with our side lengths. Now we have three different types of triangles there. The first one is called an equilateral triangle. Equilateral. It is equilateral and it has the word equal in it. That means all three sides are an equal length. So my drawings are not going to be perfect because I don't have a ruler with me right now, but I'm going to label them and so that you can see what I'm talking about. So all three sides are going to be the same length. So if this is 5 millimeters, then this is 5 millimeters, and this is 5 millimeters. I like to remember the word equal because all three sides, again, will be equal length. So I'm going to write that all three sides are going to be equal. Okay, so if you look at a measurement, if you measure each of these, they would all be the same length. The second type of triangle is isosceles. 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 Now, the key word that I like to look for here is isolate. If you are feeling isolated, you are off by yourself in the corner, nobody's talking to you, you're all alone. Well, that's what happens in an isosceles triangle. And in an isosceles triangle, you have one side. Let's see if I could draw it. Hopefully my drawings are perfect. You have one side that is not the same. So if I were to label these, this might be 8 millimeters. This one might be 8 millimeters. And this one is 6 millimeters. So you have one side that's isolated. This side is all by itself. These two people don't want to play with it. These sides they buddy up because they're the same. They're twins. They go off and they play. This side is all alone. So in an isosceles triangle, two sides are equal. One is different. So I like to think about the word isolate and being alone. This lonely angle, or this lonely side right here, doesn't have anybody to play with, so it's an isosceles triangle. The next kind of triangle is a scalene triangle. A scalene triangle, the key word I like to think about is scale. When you have something that I think about stepping on a scale to take your weight. You stepping on a scale, or your mom or your dad or grandma, grandpa, brother, sister, whoever, if you step on a scale, you are all going to be different weights. Well, when we're talking about triangles, they are all different lengths. So this length, it might be a little bit hard for you to tell that my things are all different lengths, but maybe this one is 6 millimeters. This one is 5 millimeters. And this one is 7 millimeters. So this one, all sides are different. None of them are the same. They are all on different scales. So we're talking about length, but I like to imagine them like going to the doctor for a checkup and getting weighed. This one's going to weigh different than this one. It's going to weigh different than this one. So they are all different lengths in a scalene triangle. In an isosceles triangle, two sides are the equal and one is different or isolated. In an equilateral triangle, all three sides are equal, so they're all buddies. So the way I like to think about it is 3, 2, 1. 3 sides are the same, 2 sides are the same, no one side is the same. So, I told you in the beginning there were 3 ways to name it. We can name a triangle by its side lengths, and then we can name a triangle by its angles, or sometimes you can name a triangle by both its angles and its side lengths. That is for another lesson though. So important things for you to take away today. When we're naming them by their angles, you have 3 options. The moment you see right or obtuse, you're done. That's what you name the triangle. When we're looking at our side lengths, remember 3, 2, 1. 3 sides are the same, 2 sides are the same, or all sides are different. Not one is the same. Okay, please feel free to reach out to Ms. Kent or Ms. Mowers if you have any questions. Hopefully this will help you. Good luck, friends.